Welcome to Happy Hour with the Home Collective. We are your hosts, Bill Ball and Kristin McFeely. Today we're going to be talking about a topic about sellers. Can you sell your property without your spouse's permission? But first, it's 5 o'clock and it's happy hour. Kristin, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking Dogfish Head Slightly Mighty. It's a low-calorie IPA. Have you ever had this? Do you see the label here? It's really, really good. It's like a nice, crisp IPA, but it's like a low-calorie one. I think it's 95 calories. When COVID hit and we were able to get Grubhub and they were delivering, I would get this pretty much on the weekly. And I just saw the beer distributor. And I was like, ooh, I haven't seen this in a couple years. So I grabbed a six-pack.
Does it taste like it's a different type of low-calorie thing?
It's like nice and crisp. It's like, no, not at all. Not at all. Because it's an IPA, so it's not like a...
Oh, right.
You know, like a Pilsner.
That's like a Pilsner. Right.
It tastes like a nice IPA. It's nice and hoppy, but it's light and crispy, and it's like great summer beer.
Okay, yeah, very good.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to find. I don't see them everywhere, but when I saw it last night, I was
Dogfish heads I see. The only Dogfish heads I really see is like the 60-minute, 90-minute IPA, or like the seasonal stuff, like pumpkin. So yeah, that's cool. Rare.
Yeah, this is a good one.
I'm also drinking a beer, but when I drink beer, I like, not all the time, but I like a nice Belgian. A nice golden Belgian.
Yeah, you do like
usually
that. Yeah.
High octane. So I'm drinking a golden monkey.
Oh, victory. That's
I may be
high alcohol
hammered by the end of this episode.
You probably will be.
So anything I say past the 15-minute mark, you're going to have to just let it slide. Just say, all right, Bill's on the monkey. Let it go.
He's on the monkey.
Anyway, cheers. Happy hour.
Cheers. Happy hour.
So how are you?
I am good. I'm good. I'm excited we were talking a little bit about our Phillies before. I'm excited about how well they're doing right now. And we have a big team game that we're all going to next Thursday, right? The 16th, I think. Yeah.
16th.
We're all going.
Yeah.
The whole team is going. So it should be so much fun. I can't wait.
How many people do we have?
They're doing so great right now. I think Dan got 18 tickets. A few people couldn't make it. Deirdre couldn't make it. Zoe couldn't make it. She'll be out of town. I think there were a few people. Mark couldn't make it, but I think most of the people are coming. 18 people.
We just have to hope for good weather. That's the only thing that can ruin it, right?
I know. Although the last game I went to was pouring rain, freezing cold and pouring rain. So
I think it's you.
Yeah. But yeah, looking forward to it. And they're doing really well.
Every time you tell me you're at a game and I'm watching and it's miserable, I'm like, I'm so glad I am not there. So hopefully I didn't jinx myself. This will probably be the only game I go to this year. Actually, my buddy's coming in from out of town and for a few months, and he's a huge Philly fan. He's probably going to go over, probably 15 games probably while he's here. So I'll probably go to one or two more.
Is that Phil?
Yeah, Phil's coming like in a couple weeks.
Nice.
So,
nice.
He's like you with the Phils. Like, you two are probably like, you know what? Remember I said I was going to put them on in the 7th and that hasn't been happening. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice weather. I'm putting on the game. I've been watching all the games. I mean, not like sitting there like with every pitch, but it's on. I've been watching way more than I thought. I'm kind of mad at myself, but I have been tuning in a ton and it's fun. They're just on. They're a fun team.
Yeah, we pretty much watch every game. I mean, but yeah, sometimes it's on in the background and stuff. And sometimes if it's like an early game and we don't have anything to do, we'll like go to a bar, and watch. It's just fun.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to give, because I was up in the burbs this weekend, I'm going to give a market update, which Kristin hates. But this is going to be a quick one. Yeah, you
Let's hear it.
It's going to be a quick one. You ready? This is the temperature of the burbs market. Still amazing for sellers. Tragic for buyers. The end. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Yeah. And what burbs specifically are you talking about? You're talking about Bucks County, right?
Bucks County, Yardley, Newtown,
Yeah.
Holland, all around there. It's still,
That's tough.
I was at an open house on Saturday, I think, and it's flooded. It's flooded.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're giving away free shit. You know what I mean? Like free something. And then it's insane, still. So don't want to really get into it, but I just want to, I do have clients, believe it or not. I have clients recently asking me about the burbs, saying, we're going to get ready and we're probably going to do the burbs soon. I said, take your time.
That's exactly what I told someone today.
Take your time because you're just going to drive yourself insane. And they were like, really? I said, yeah. Yeah. If you're comfortable and you don't have to move, just forget this year. Forget 2024. We'll look at it. We'll look at it next year. I'll let you know. I'll call you. You ever do that?
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be doing that as an agent. I want to buy a house. You know what? Don't buy it. Just, I'll call you.
I'll call you.
Yeah. If something's available, I'll give you a shout. But until then, don't ask. You just forget it. Go back to your life. Pretend you never even brought this up. You know what I mean? Just move along.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I know.
But you're saying you were just, before we started recording, you're saying you were really excited just to lock something up in Philly, just in, where was it, Northern Liberties?
Graduate Hospital.
Graduate Hospital. Are you still seeing it? Are you seeing multis there?
You know what it is? I think, yes, definitely. And I think it's price point too. It's the house, it's the price point, it's the whole thing. So I have these buyers, they lost out on 2. We just got an offer accepted. This was the 3rd try, but they wanted to be initially in like a townhome in Rittenhouse or Fiddler Square, and they could go up to like $1 million or so. But they didn't want a condo. So we tried something on Waverly Street. In fact, Sarah's clients also bid on that one too. We lost out. We came in 2nd place actually on that one, but we had to go like, I don't know, almost 100,000 over cash. They did do inspections, but they are cash. And we came in 2nd. And I think there were 7 offers on that one on Waverly Street. And then we tried for one on Fitzwater Street. I think she had 5 offers on that one. We didn't get it. They didn't love it to go crazy over. So we just kind of threw our, hat in the ring to see what would happen. We didn't get that one. And then today we got something on Catherine Street. So initially, they wanted to be in Fittler and Rittenhouse, and we had to revisit our expectations and come a little further south, and then even further south, from Fitzwater. So that's where they landed. But even this one was multiple offers. So I think it depends on price point. I think it depends on the house, what it offers. This one had parking that you can't find that. That's hard to find. Yeah. I had that one in West Philly 2 weeks ago, my own listing, and we had 4 offers on that one. That was also a pretty unique property, kind of in the like 750-ish sort of range. But I have another one around the corner from it we just reduced to $499. It was at $520. We reduced it to $499, and we're not getting any bites. We're not even getting showings. So it's just kind of like, I don't know.
All right, so it's not everything.
It's really tough. It's not everything.
It's almost everything. Mm-mm. It's something that's it's got to stand out a little and being priced right, and then you're getting crushed. Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
Oy, oy, oy. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. All right. That was a little market update, tiny.
Yeah.
Little sample of what's going down on the streets. No actual data, but to back that up, just feel. Yeah. It's all about feelings.
It's the feel.
We're feelings
the feel
here
on the streets. Yeah.
All right. Well, today we are talking about, why don't you explain what we're talking about today?
We found this article that we thought was so interesting. And it basically, the title is, Can a Spouse Gamble Away Your Home or Sell It Without Your Permission? So we thought that this was a really kind of interesting thing. We know some gamblers out there, right, Bill?
I'm surprised that they, it's funny. I wonder why they threw gamblers in there. I could see the title being like, can your spouse sell your home without your permission? But I guess maybe gambling. I wonder if there's data like maybe there's a huge spike in gambling
There
addictions
is.
with
Well, that's
all
what they
these
say.
gambler websites like
With the
DraftKings
apps.
and all this stuff.
Yes, that's what it actually says. It says the ease of using those apps. Gambling addictions have soared recently. Up to 20 million Americans have gambling problems or are at risk. So the title of this article is called "Can a Spouse Gamble Away Your Home or Sell It Without Your Permission?" And basically the idea is that gambling addiction can lead people to make irrational decisions, including using assets like a house as collateral for gambling debts. Yeah, so one of the main things here that they're talking about is some homeowners who are desperate to settle their debts might be tempted to get extra cash with like a home equity loan, a HELOC, or even sell their house without their spouse's knowledge. So it says, luckily, despite what you see in the movies, your spouse can't throw a deed into the pot in Las Vegas and gamble away your house. In most jurisdictions, gambling debts are not legally enforceable in court. But that doesn't stop some sneaky spouses from trying. Here's what a spouse can do and not do without your knowledge. And here's how to protect yourself.
Like all title companies are going to look for both party signatures and have notaries and use IDs and all that. Are there shady ways to do it? Maybe. We don't know any. So, but legally they can't do that. That's kind of an easy one. The home equity line of credit or pulling like a home equity loan from the property.
Yeah.
Do they need both parties? You would think so. They
Definitely do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I've never taken one out, but
here's what it
you would
says.
think you need both parties.
Here's what it says. So in terms of selling the house, it says, generally the real estate adage applies: 1 to buy and 2 to sell. So simply put, a spouse can buy a house independently, but both need to agree to sell the marital home. It's a good rule of thumb, but what does the law say about home equity loans and selling a house behind the other spouse's back? Well, it can get complicated. Okay. So whether one spouse can sell a marital home without the other knowing depends on the laws and circumstances of their state. And it all comes down to several factors, such as who's on the deed, if the house is considered separate or marital property, and the community property and common laws that apply to your state. So we know here in PA, we have, what do they call it exactly? I forget what it's called. There's a term for it. It's like a marital.
Oh, so that's interesting.
Community property state.
Well, okay, but what about how they took title?
That has something to do with it. Yes, that has something to do with. So the way they take title has something to do with if someone were to pass. So does it go to the estate of that person and their heirs, or does it go to the other person, the other party?
It depends. So it depends. Like you could have tenants in common or joint tenancy. So it depends on how you took title.
Yep.
So one is usually for married couples. Is it joint tenancy?
By the entirety. Tenants by the entirety is 99% of the time used for married people, but you don't have to. You don't have to.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But if you use tenants in common, each party owns 50% of the home.
Yep.
So you could technically sell your half. Correct?
That's a good question. Let's see what this article says.
All right, keep
That's
going.
That's a good question.
We've only been doing this 20 years.
Because it's not the kind of thing that we come across very often. So can one spouse, that's a good question. Can one spouse get a loan or on a jointly owned home? So let's say that one of the spouses wants to get more money to gamble or pay off debt they racked up. They might be eyeing a home equity loan or a refinance or even a reverse mortgage without telling the other spouse. Can they even do that? In most cases, one spouse cannot use a jointly owned house to get secret cash without the knowledge or consent of the other spouse, primarily if the title lists both spouses as owner of the property. So typically, if both spouses are on the deed, any lender will require both parties to take out the loan or require the party not taking out the loan to sign an affidavit, basically indicating that they agree to do this.
Okay, so this actually can get pretty deep, okay? We're going to just try to keep it surface level here. Can your spouse sell your property without your permission? The answer is no if you're on the deed. There's a couple caveats, though, with it, okay? Most married people buy the property, and there's different ways you could take title, okay? For married people, it's usually joint tenancy, where you each own 100% of the property. When one passes it, the property, the interest goes to the other surviving party, okay? But there's also, for non-married people or for married people that don't want it set up that way, you could do what's called a tenants in common, where you each own a percentage of the property. I guess let's say somebody was dating. Let's say there was a couple that were dating. They weren't married. They were going to buy a property. One party was going to put up 80% of the money. The other party was going to put up 20%. Maybe you do a tenants in common where one person owns 80, the other person owns 20. Most times we see it, which is rare. We rarely see this title taken this way. It's usually a married couple or a couple that's together and they're taking joint tenancy. But let's say they wanted to do a percentage split. It's usually 50-50. Like each party owns half. So in that instance, if they took the people that own the home took title as tenants in common, the one party can sell his portion or his percentage of the property without the other's permission. That can happen. Can you gamble it away? I highly doubt that.
I don't know
right?
if that's true. I guess we need to have a title person here. I don't know if that's true. I think the way that
what would be the point of having different percentages?
Because, I think the point of it is because you'd have to change the title if you were going to do it that way. So I think the point is because sometimes you own a property with like a business partner, like an investment property or something.
Right.
Not,
so if you wanted to sell your interest in the property, why would you need your other partner's permission?
Well, you need to change the title. You need to change the deed.
Okay, so then that person pays the recording fee to change it. So I think
the main thing here is that the one has, it's all about when you die, essentially. So the one is if you die, it goes to your heirs. And the other one is if you die, it goes to the other person who owns it with you. That's the real difference
joint
between
tenancy.
the two.
That's joint.
That's the difference between the two. One is, if you own a property with someone, if you and I own a property together,
right?
We bought an investment property. We own a property together, 50-50.
Right.
If I die,
how did we take title?
Well, it depends. That's what we would have to decide.
Give me the scenario.
Do we want it to be if I die, you get the whole thing, or do we want it to be if I die, my heirs get my half?
That's the way we would
probably do it. And you keep your half, but my heirs, I designate who gets my half.
Right. And that's how we'd probably do it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not about dying.
I don't want you getting the whole thing.
Right. Listen, I agree, but it's not about you dying. You own a piece of investment. If you want to sell your investment, you could sell it.
I don't know about that.
And then Kristin.
So that, I think you have to just go through you have to get an attorney, and it's like a partnership agreement. I've gone through it. I've had partnership agreements dissolve, unfortunately. I've had that happen to me twice.
Under tenancy in common, owners have significant flexibility to sell and transfer their ownership interest as they see fit. This is according to Patrick and Associates, LLC. Okay? So this means that each tenant's share is considered part of their estate when they die. Okay.
Right.
The owner may convey their interest to a loved one through will or allow it to pass to their heirs in line with state instance laws.
Right.
There are no right of survivorship, which means the other tenants are only entitled to their remaining fractional shares.
That's what I just said. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but you can sell it, though, too. It's not just about dying. Why couldn't you sell it? That would make sense.
I guess you could. But you have to change the deed to do that.
Okay, so what? So you change the deed. It doesn't change the other person's portion. Like, let's say you had a title. Let's say me and you, we own something 50-50. And I want to sell my half.
Yeah.
The title company can change the deed to convey my percentage to the new person while still recording you as the other person who owns the 50%. You don't have to do anything. And then the new buyer probably can pay recording fees or whatever. You follow me? Like pay title fees and pay recording fees. Are you following me or no?
I'm following.
You don't agree?
No, I don't. I don't know. I don't know the answer. So getting back to the article then, if that were the case,
Okay.
then could you sell your half of the, so I guess maybe what Tenants of the Entirety does is it disallows that from happening. You're not allowed to sell your.
This is what we're going to do because we've only been doing this a couple weeks. Okay. What we're going to do,
agents.
Let's do this. Let's leave this here, this sloppy mess of stuff. And let's get Kristen Marone on.
Oh,
and we'll let her go throw it. We'll let her go throw it.
Yeah. Or Kaya. We can get, we'll get somebody from Square. Uh-huh.
Yeah, of course.
Well, definitely. We can do that.
Let's do it.
Yep.
We'll just have them on. Maybe we'll do a call. Well, let's do this. Okay. This will go out this week. We'll do coffee break. Well, let's get a coffee with Kristen. Okay. And she'll go through these 3 ways to take title.
Got it.
This is pretty sloppy, so we're going to have to ask for forgiveness.
This is really sloppy.
But let's really leave. I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to edit this. I'm going to leave it because it's funny to see how we're thinking through it. Because what happens is, and for people who are going, how do these 2 jabronis not know this when they've been doing it 20 years? Well, here's what happens. 99.999% of the time, it happens one way. I've had in 15 years, I've had one couple not take the joint tenancy like as a married person where the other person, where they own the house equally, regardless of percentages. They all own 100%. I've had one client do a tenants in common. Actually,
I don't know that
2.
I ever have.
2. I've had 2.
I don't know that I ever have.
I've had 2. And it was because the families were pitching in. And the families were like, that's my money.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? That's how we want to do it.
Makes
so
sense.
there was like a 50-50 split of the title. So we know that's the case, but where we're getting confused is what they can do with it. So let's do that. Let's, for a coffee break, we'll bring on Kristen to talk about that.
All right. I'm down with that. So back to the article, if you want to just see what they have to say, because this is, I will say this article is not specific to PA. So,
and
every
that's
state
the other
has
thing.
their own.
Right.
Yeah.
Every
state
state's
has
got their own
kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Exactly. Go ahead.
So this basically says, trying to get a home equity loan on the down low is one thing, but if one spouse wants to sell the marital home out from under the other spouse, what would happen? It's only really possible to legally sell the home if one spouse had power of attorney over the other, or if there's some stipulation in a divorce settlement. Some homeowners still might try to do it privately, or maybe they'll hire an agent, but the same kind of documentation is going to be required, like we pretty much already talked about. You need to have all owners, of record sign, or have documentation showing any authorization for like a POA or something like that.
Power of attorney.
Power of attorney, exactly. Some spouses can get sneaky, though. There have been instances where one spouse attempts to sell a property without the other's knowledge, even if both parties are on the deed, often in divorce or marital discord. This situation typically involves deceptive or illegal practices resulting in legal battles and complications. So obviously there's legal recourse if someone tries to do this. How about, though, Bill, when only one spouse is on the deed? So we have been in this situation where, like, you sell a house to someone, right? They're a single gal, single guy, and all of a sudden, they call you and they're like, we want to sell, and now I'm married, but only one spouse is actually on the deed. So what can a spouse do when the other spouse's knowledge?
I'm going to say they probably could if it's only one person's name on it.
I think they can.
Like when I was living in South Philly, I had the house in my name because I bought the house years before I met Sheena. She moved in. If I wanted to sell it, there's probably no way for her to stop it. Unless she got an attorney. Who knows? You could probably file something with a title company and put some kind of lien on the property or something like that to try to kind of hold it up, maybe. I mean, listen, you can do anything legally. You could try to do whatever you need to do. But these are good questions for Kristen. But this article really is assuming that they're they're joint tenants, because it's not even talking about how you take title, and that's really what's going to determine what you can sell and what you can't sell.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
I didn't even know this was going to go down that path, but it's kind of interesting.
It is interesting. Well, and the other thing that I just want to mention to listeners is that we're speaking from Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is not an attorney state. So we may sound like, as you say, jabronis talking about this, but part of it is because we don't use attorneys here. The title company handles that for us.
I was just going to say, and in practice, in our defense, 99.999% of the time, title's always taken one way. I mean, it's so rare that title's taken. It happens, but the majority of the time it's taken as, a couple that's each sharing 100% value of the property. So that's why we kind of forget these things. But and don't forget, we're drinking. So there's that. And I got Golden Monkey in me, which is like 13%. It's late. So
that's true.
Let's put a pin in this to borrow a terrible, what do you call that?
That's what I say all the time. I always say, let's put a pin in this.
I
know nobody likes that.
So corny as shit. But let's do that. Let's get Kristin around. Let's pick this up over a coffee break.
Let's do it. I'll reach out to Kristin Marone tomorrow. And we'll get her set up for the next one.
Let's do it, because these people are going to be on pins and needles going, do these people even sell real estates? So we're going to have to get to the bottom of this. So let's do it.
And then once we get the real answer, we'll have to delete this episode entirely so that we don't look like
delete this
morons.
Episode. Start over. All right, Kristin, let's get out of here. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you at coffee break.
All right, I'll see you at coffee break, hopefully with Kristin.